Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Old Podcast. I'm Jody Harrison Bauer, along with my daughter, Lexi Harrison. We are here to discuss aging and the beauty, the challenging times, the joys, and the bumps in the road that we might have. My daughter's laughing at me as I say all these things because my intro is different every single week. But we are here to talk about getting old. And I love talking about this with my daughter because we come from different perspectives. I'm 62 and she's 30. And obviously, we look at life a little differently. But I think that's really cool because I learned so much from my daughter, and I have an older daughter as well that I learned things from as well. But Lexi and Lexi is here today. Hello, Lexi.
I was going to say, I was so happy that you didn't do the thing.
I know.
And my daughter, Lexi, and then you paused for me to say hi.
So I was trying not to.
Yeah, thank you.
And
you just did it. So
I know, but how else do I introduce you to?
I'm going to be speaking throughout. They don't need to.
I guess so.
Voice comes in, they'll know it's me.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Maybe it's a generational thing because you listen to all different kinds of shows, all different kinds of podcasts, and you know how the cool people do the intros, and I'm just not that cool person. I'm not cool about it.
Just as many podcasts as I do.
I know, but I can't try to be cool. I think I am pretty cool, but I can't be like super cool like some of the shows.
Trying to be. I just feel like so many shows have the exact same intro, and it's like soothing when the podcast starts to hear the host say the same thing.
Well, you know what? This is our This is our maiden voyage. I mean, if you listen to Fearlessly Authentic, my other podcast, I've got that intro down pretty down pat. After 3.5 years.
You're right. It's been 3.5 years. And we had the same conversation at the start. And I would play you intros to other podcasts and say, see, they say the same thing.
Right. Yep. And you told me not to repeat myself, which is something that I did and something I do. And I don't know if it's an age thing, the repetition of things. And I know that I repeat things like to my husband because I don't think he's listening to me. But I also repeat things, I think sometimes because I want to make sure I'm making a point.
Yeah, you do repeat yourself. Do you, this is not really related, but when you leave a voicemail and you say, hi, this is Jody, and then at the end you say, you can reach me at, and you leave your phone number, do you do that?
Almost all the time.
So I do that too, and that's so embarrassing, and that's how you know that we're old, because you don't need to leave your phone number. They can see the phone number. You don't have to leave the phone number. Like if you open your phone and go to voicemails, you cannot even listen to the message and just call them back.
That's true.
I think I learned that from like those Allstate commercials. Is it Allstate? Or maybe Geico.
Geico, yes.
To your parents.
Yes.
And they say, you don't need to say your name and your phone number twice. I'll say it twice. At the end of a voicemail, they have your number. They already have your number.
But doesn't it feel like, you didn't brush your teeth before you left the house?
That's the autopilot. And that's what made me think about it with the podcast intro, is it should just be like autopilot. Hi, I'm Jody Harrison Bauer. Welcome to this week's episode of Fearlessly Authentic.
Right.
Just like it should just roll off the tongue. And that's what happens when you leave a voicemail. It just feels like.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I haven't gotten the intro down pat. Yeah, I know what I want to say, but I also feel like I get what you're saying, Lexi, that just say the same thing. But to me, sometimes I feel like saying more. So that's just me. And, I get to the point.
Way of rebelling.
What's that?
I think it's your way of rebelling.
You think that I rebel. So this is something. This is something that Lexi and I have discussed. So Lexi has a lot of knowledge in the public relations field, let's say. And so she gives me a lot of guidance to things that I should and should not be doing. Or will send me things and say, check this out. This is something that I think could help you learn about this. And it's really, really helpful. But she gets frustrated with me when I don't do everything she says to do. And what I've tried to explain to her is that sometimes I don't have the confidence to do them, or I don't know how to navigate through by doing that. For example, and I know you have something to say, but for example, when I first started, after Sports Illustrated happened in 2019, I knew that I had to start speaking more on and being more authentic. And then 6 months later, I started Fearlessly Authentic. But I was nervous not because I was hiding behind a persona that I was putting out on social media, but I didn't know what I wanted to say. And I think a lot of people who are on social media or want to say things don't know where to start. I think everybody.
I agree with you. You knew what you wanted to say. You were just scared to say it. And that's what is so annoying. And if you never did what I said, that would be one thing. But you continue to ask me for advice. You then complain about the problem after I give you the advice. After you have not taken the advice, you continue to complain about the problem. I give you the same advice.
True.
And then about 1.5 to 2 years after I've given you the advice, you start doing it and it works, and you act like it's some genius idea that you had.
No,
And
you're absolutely
that we
right.
have been talking about every single day for 2 years. So that's why it drives me crazy. I don't care if you listen to me. If you didn't want to take my advice, that would be fine. I would stop giving you advice. But you continue to ask me, we continue to talk about it, and then eventually you do it and it always works. Then you're like, it's just so crazy that people started listening to my podcast once I started promoting it this way. Like, oh, really? I wonder who has been telling you that on a weekly basis for 2 years.
I know. And I think that so much of it, and that's what I wanted to start off the show with, Lexi and I talk before, well, I should say we text or talk before we get on the show, obviously, about the topic we're going to discuss today. And what I wanted to discuss today was not something she wanted to talk about, which happens literally every week. I pick a topic because she wants to come to the show as just the side person, and I have to lead it.
As if you do all this prep work. You text me 20 minutes before the show.
Well, because I don't know. I'm thinking about what I want
to. This is the first time I've said no to a topic. Last time we had a disagreement, you suggested 5 topics for one 50-minute show. And I said the most we could do is 2. I think we should only do 1. We get to the end of the episode and you're like, wow, that just flew by. We really just talked about that one topic the whole time. That is so crazy.
Do you remember what we talked about last week?
No, that's probably something we should be better about, because I feel I'm very worried that we're going to repeat ourselves a lot and people are going to
No, because what I do is before it gets sent out to all the streaming podcasts platforms, I go and I listen to it so I could
really
duh.
Oh, I can't listen. You sent me a video of us and I refused to open it.
How the hell can I write the description? What I should do is, as soon as we're finished with the show.
Yeah, you're here.
I don't, because you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I did 3
ourselves look really bad.
I did 3 interviews yesterday. I was a guest on one show, and then I interviewed 2 people for Fearlessly Authentic. And it was from 2:00 in the afternoon until 8:00 at night. And the 7 p.m. interview I did was with a local news anchor who had a 5 o'clock, a 6 o'clock, and an 11 o'clock show. And when of course I didn't, I just touched up my makeup a little bit. I went to go put my lip gloss on, and I thought, how the hell does this woman do this? And she's got 2 small kids. But I have to tell you, I am tired today. I am really, because getting ready for that interview, I was very nervous because she's a news anchor, speaks impeccably, and has interviewed people. And of course, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, you put a lot of prep work into your interviews.
So I get exhausted. So it's like running a marathon for an hour.
I think you should tread very lightly. You're going to compare talking on your podcast to running a marathon?
No. I'm saying that mentally, it does take a lot out of me.
Okay, it's
not like a marathon. It's like a good workout. Okay. I'm just saying that when you are intense about
4 hours.
Lexi, I'm talking about the intensity. That's what we're talking about, today's intensity.
Okay, it's
All right.
not
Okay, so we're gonna move on from this subject. What I wanted to talk about today was how much this sounds so clinical the way I'm going to say it right now. Lexi and I went away for the weekend together. She came to a concert with me because my husband didn't want to go. And I sort of twisted her arm. And I know that if something better came along, she would have blown me off. But I was very, very grateful that. Did you really? Oh my God. I would have gone by myself. I mean, I don't know if I would have driven to Boston
It was
all by
just
myself.
so
It was a
far.
schlep.
New
It was
York
a
to
schlep.
Boston is like
Well,
5
right.
hours.
I
to
mean,
go
you
to a
don't
show.
know that?
Not really. I haven't been to Boston in many years.
So it was really exciting. What?
It feels like it should be closer.
No, it's 2.5 hours away.
Not from here, it's not.
No,
took
not
6
from New York.
hours to
It's
get there.
5.5 hours probably. So it's a schlep for sure. So Lexi joined me on this journey to go to Boston, and I brought appropriate snacks. She actually praised me and said, "Good job on the snacks, Mom."
I felt like a first grader. I walked out and she picked me up from the train station, and she had a cooler full of snacks and water. I thought I was gonna have to beg for a pit stop right away.
No, I know how to take care of you and your sister, who lives much farther away. So Lexi and I do see each other often, and but I hadn't seen her in a while.
Oh my God. Every time we see each other, she's so dramatic about it. And we talk on the phone every day. We obviously do this show once a week. So like I see her face a lot, and we see her in person minimum.
I haven't seen you in a month. I've not physically been able to give you a hug in a month because you've been traveling. She's been all over the place. Go ahead.
I'm 30 years old. It's summer and we live in different states. Like I don't know anyone who sees their mom.
I do.
And every time I see her, she's so dramatic about it. I told her it's a little embarrassing how much time we spend together. There was a guy that I was dating last year who my mom found at a bar. We were at a bar together, and she tapped
that's right.
shoulder and like sold me to him. Was like, "Oh, have you seen my daughter? She's so beautiful."
Well, you dated him for 6 months.
But we dated for a little bit, so it worked out well. But it was during that period of time, it wasn't the best time of my life, and so we were seeing each other a lot.
Yeah.
Not so, but
we
were seeing each other a lot, and
more so. You actually wanted me around.
I had to start lying to him about what I was doing because I was getting so embarrassed that every time it's like, "What are you doing tonight? What are you doing tomorrow?" Blah blah blah. It always involved my mom, and so I started lying, pretending that I was like with friends or doing other things, and that's when I told her for the first time that we might spend too much time together.
Well, going back,
we had our big reunion this week.
So just going back for 2 minutes is when, and this always comes up because it was a big part of growing up and my relationship and our relationship, is that when Lexi was 8, her dad and I got divorced, and Alyssa, her older sister, was 12 at the time. But they were almost like 9 and 13. Really tough ages, you guys, really tough ages. But as I will tell anyone who's thinking about getting divorced, is there's no good time and there's no best age ever. The best time about to get divorced is never. So hopefully whatever, it takes 2 people to work on the relationship, but that's not the point of this story. The point is that her older sister, who was like 13, left for college 5 years later at 18. And then it was just me and Lexi in the house together. And, Lexi and I were always very close because even though I'm close to both of my daughters as moms, as I'm sure so many of you can relate to, as moms, especially moms with daughters, you have, you're 2 different human beings. They're both your daughters and they're both being raised by the same 2 people, but they're completely very different human beings. And all you hope is that you pass down the right morals and values to them. So needless to say, I I have a different relationship with each one of you. And Lexi, I hope Alyssa doesn't hear this, but Lexi is particularly special. Alyssa's my firstborn, and Lexi's particularly special because I had 2 miscarriages before her. So she's my rainbow baby. So she holds a special part in my heart. Alyssa holds a special part in my heart too, because she's my firstborn. So that was my point about our relationship. And you live closer. Alyssa lives farther away. So that is why we do see each other more, and why, you know, I could call your sister up and we could talk about anything, but it's just a different relationship. And I'm sure every mom listening to this can relate to that.
I mean, you guys will stay on the phone for like 6 hours. I can't do that and stare at each other's faces. But I think
Alyssa can stare at her face.
I think
that's why she likes to FaceTime.
Oh my God. Can I speak?
Yes.
I think you think the reason our relationship is so special is from when I was a baby. And I think it's from the 4 years that I was in high school.
Yeah.
That we had our sorority house where it was just the 2 of us. And I did spend time with my dad, so I wasn't there all the time. Yes. But I spent most of my time with you, and it was just the 2 of us. And I think because I was in high school and I was a teenager, it just felt like we were friends. I don't know. It was a very weird, fun time that I feel like that's when we became
it was an interesting dynamic. You knew I was still your mom, but you knew I was your best friend, which I think is a beautiful thing. But you still had your best friends, but you know your mom always has your back.
I know. We're painting it as if I have no friends.
Lexi has a fuck ton of friends.
I have normal human friends who are
yes, you do. So I wanted to talk about this today, is how much I value my relationship, since you're doing the show with me, value my relationship with you. Lexi does push me. She's hard on me. She pushes me to be the best person I could be in the things that I ask her that I need help with. But even, I think, you know, even in life, because as both of us have gotten older, we share more and more. I don't need to know everything that she does in her life, although
you ask.
I want to know. But I'm not that nosy. I'm not that mom that's like, tell me everything, unless she wants to tell me. What?
I think you are. I think you are. I think it's interesting that you don't think that.
I mean, of course I want to know everything, but I don't demand it of you. I don't, because that would be really embarrassing. But my point is, I want to let you know how much I value our relationship, like as a mother and daughter and as individual women, and how you push me to be unafraid to take risks. Because I do get scared sometimes of taking some risks when I don't know how to get there. And you say things to me like, well, just do it, Mom. You know what you want to talk about. And I'm just going to reference this for a minute. I know you don't watch The Bachelorette, but I was watching the finale on Hulu last night. And this girl is like 27, 28, 29 years old, The Bachelorette, and her mom and dad are there with her in Fiji. And it's between 2 men. She doesn't know who she's going to choose. And she looks at her mom. That was the video clip I sent you. Then Lexi sends me back. Stop sending me video clips. And I just didn't respond to her for the rest of the night because I was just exhausted.
Okay. No, I'm going to pause this for a second, because my mom, who sends me a lot of texts a day, will sit on her couch and hold up her phone and record the TV playing in her living room.
I don't know what's wrong with that.
And then she will send me like a 7-minute long clip of her watching TV and not say any words. So
because they're saying the words on TV.
No, Mom, if you sent me that clip and said, hey, I'm watching the finale of The Bachelorette, and the way that Charity is talking to her mom makes me think of you. Watch this clip. At least I have some context. She sends me that clip. I didn't even press on it. What am I gonna, Mom, we literally just had this conversation 2 days ago. I said, stop sending me videos of your TV with no context.
I almost didn't. And then I was so tired. I was just like, let me just send it to her.
You were ignoring me when you didn't respond.
I was ignoring you. because I was
know.
like, you were being a little bit of a bitch. So I was just like,
No,
I'm
I
not
didn't watch
responding.
the clip.
Okay. So she just looks to her mom and she says, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And I think,
I say that to you all the time.
right, you say that. And that's why I sent it to Lexi. Just tell me what to do. And as moms, of course, we want to tell our daughters exactly what to do. But what I loved about Charity's mom is she's like, I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. And I thought the mom was a real, she's a very strong woman. She's like, I don't want to say names. I don't want you to hear my words. You have to make this decision yourself. And I think both you and I don't ever say to you, just tell me what to do unless it's something I really don't know how to do. And you'll show me.
Don't listen.
I do listen. Everybody
But I
listening,
ask you to
I
tell me
do
what
listen.
to do all the time. Do I say just tell me what to do?
You
And
do.
you rarely do. Sometimes you do.
Yeah, if I feel like you really, really don't have a clue. But here's the deal is that everybody really knows what to do. They know what they want when it comes to a decision. Let's just say about a relationship. You always know what you want. It's
Well,
just
you would never tell me to break up with someone if I was like, oh, I don't know if I should break up with them. But if I said, okay, I'm breaking up with them, I don't know how to do it, what do I do? Then you would tell me what to do.
Yes, but if you said to me, what do you think? I'm thinking about breaking up with so-and-so. What do you think? And I totally would never tell you what to do because I don't want that holding on me, because there have been some relationships that I've like, I wish you would break up with him. And you're like over the moon happy. So like, who am I to say this isn't making you happy just because I may not love the person?
We'll debrief after the call on who those were.
Yes. So I just wanted to put it out there that I do value everything that you say. And I had so much fun with you in Boston. And I think you actually had fun with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that every mother-daughter relationships are very complex and can be very complicated because there is that unconditional love that moms have for their daughters. And we want to see them. I'm making a blanket statement about any mother who loves her daughter. Okay. Is that we do have unconditional love for them and we want to see them doing better and making better decisions than we ever did, and taking their time, maybe more time in decision making than we ever did also, because maybe we felt like time was running out for us, and we have, being older, we have perspective now, and we're like, you have time. You don't have to rush anything, because we have this incredible wisdom of having life experiences. We know that there's time when sometimes our daughters think that, something might be too late for them or they're not sure. So we can see.
Well, the only thing you hear old people saying is life is so short. Life is so short. Life is so short. So
yeah.
Why would we not think we're running out of time?
Because right. So you don't take that as a
short life is. So I very much take that as, okay, running out of time.
have to think about that. I don't know. I know we say it because of where we are in life, that life is short, because when we look back, we're like, shit.
Well, everyone says life is
where short. Is that time? I know. I remember my grandparents used to say it. I'm like, or when there was a birthday, right? And they'd say, to health. And I'm like, fuck health. Like, who needs health? I'm 10 years old, right? I'm healthy, or 15 or 18 or 23 or 25. But now, like, yes, I get it. It's to health. It's to health and happiness, because those are the two things everybody wants in life. But the other thing is as Lexi and I are talking about me not listening to a lot of things that she suggests to me, she inspires me. And you've always had a good head on your shoulders. And you've always inspired me to just live up to, I almost feel like what?
Well, I appreciate this praise despite how uncomfortable it makes me.
You're so funny.
I don't know if this is really entertaining for people to just listen to you talk about how much you love me. Can we maybe make this a larger conversation?
Yes, I will tell you that.
Did you want to talk about the Barbie movie, Mothers and Daughters?
Yes, but we're
That
going to
was
be taking
that was also part of our
right.
big weekend adventure.
We're going to be
The last
talking about
people in the
that.
world to see the Barbie movie.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have wanted to go see the movie with anyone else but you and your sister. But what I wanted to say was that you and your sister have always been my purpose. And I've always worked hard on myself to be the best role model that I could be for you. And so that's why sometimes it's hard when you say, well, Mom, you didn't listen to me, because I want you to look at me and say, I told my mom to do that, and now she's doing it. I told my mom to do that. And so when you're like, well, Mom, you don't listen to me, then I feel like I've let you down. Maybe that's the people pleaser in me.
You do, because then we just have just had 2 conversations about 2 things that you've recently done that I have been telling you to do for literally years.
Yes.
You straight face said to me, I don't know what I've been doing to make this happen. Like you couldn't believe it. Like something just magically.
I know. It takes me a while. All right. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a minute. Hello, everyone. And we are back as my daughter is giving me direction as to how we should take this second part of the show. But welcome back to the Old Podcast, where we talk about everything aging. And Lexi and I were talking about our fabulous weekend this past weekend. And what was really fun was just going to my old stomping ground. And I went to school in Boston. So it was really, really fun for me to be there. And Lexi was very patient with me to go to all of, saw my school and went to see where I worked. And it was really, really fun. But we ended the weekend with the viewing of the Barbie movie. We were a little late to the whole Barbie thing, but
you made me promise to see it with you, so I waited.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Lexi, what did you think of the movie?
Oh, no, you go first.
Okay. I liked the movie a lot. I knew I would like it. I knew it would be entertaining. I loved the background, all the colors. It was really, really obviously done very, very well, since it's, I think, like the highest grossing picture ever. And I loved the end the most, because I love the message that Rhea Perlman, who plays the inventor, the creator of Barbie, Ruth Handler, says to Barbie about, we mothers stand still so our daughters can look back and see how far they've come. I can't believe I just said that without crying. What?
Oh, okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't really get it. Like, I cried when she said it. I thought it was very cute. It was very sweet. It was very emotional, but I don't really understand.
It means that we work hard to make changes so you can travel and behind us and look back and see how far women have come. So it takes strong women, and then we stand still and we're like, fly, flee, go live your life. Go, in this case, go get a vagina, We work, and then we stand still, because the spotlight should always be on our daughters. That's what she's saying, is the spotlight is on our daughters. We stand still, so the spotlight is on our daughters, and they can see how far they've come.
Okay.
Because it's not about us as the mothers. It's never about us.
No, that I understand.
Right. That's really what it was about, is that it's not about the moms. We work hard, and then we stand still to let you fly and you be in the spotlight. So back in the day, it was never about the moms getting the glory. It was about their children. So, in my particular case, my mom
was never about the moms getting the glory. What mom glory?
Well, my mother wanted the glory.
But they never actually get it, except in, like, what are those really cute ads that they do during the Olympics? It's like a Procter and Gamble commercial. Procter and Gamble.
Yeah, maybe. Right. It's always supposed to be
for the moms.
Does that make sense, though, what I just said?
Kind of. I mean, I still don't totally get the standing still thing, but I understand the.
It's not like standing still like I can't move. I can't move. I can't move. Ah. It's not like that. It's just we work hard and then we stop and we're like, go, take over the world. Take over the world. It's ready. Go. The world is your oyster. Open it up and just enjoy. And that's really what we do as parents, as mothers in particular. Mothers and fathers are very different human beings. Dads would not relate to the movie, I don't think, like that. I personally, I can't see a man really relating to it unless he's very, very in touch with his feminine side, or he raised the children himself, and daughters in particular. So I lost it at that point of the movie. And I walked away still kind of crying from it, because I know so many mothers put so much effort into the raising of their daughters. And
Well,
all
yeah, I
we
know that part.
all we want is for them to have more opportunities, a better life, not as much angst, not to make the same mistakes that we made. And I get that she made Barbie, astronaut Barbie, president Barbie, all of these things to show how strong a woman could be.
Right.
And I never played with Barbies, and they never empowered me. And I wonder if my mom didn't have me playing with Barbies. I think I mentioned this to you, because maybe she didn't want me to look at Barbie as a role model. I don't know. I mean, Barbie came out in 1959.
I know. I wonder when Barbie was like peak popularity. There were certainly Barbies around. Barbies were like pretty prevalent in the 90s, but
I think they were making a comeback.
But they weren't like the main thing.
Well, in the 90s, it was the American Dolls.
Right. So I played with
American Girl.
Dolls. That was also around when I was growing up. I never played with them, but that's when Bratz dolls were really big. And I think Bratz dolls kind of like overtook the Barbies a little bit. They were like the new slutty doll.
Oh, so you look at Barbie as slutty?
I look at Bratz as slutty.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like they were kind of talking about that in the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wonder when Barbies were like peak toy, but I will say we did have, I think it was my sister's, but I got to use it, the pink convertible Barbie car.
Oh yeah, the Corvette,
which was by far the coolest toy we ever had in our whole childhood.
Yes.
That was sick. And that was definitely Barbie. So when I think of Barbie, I do think of that car and being like, we must have been the coolest kids in the world that we had that car.
When I was growing up, we had a Batmobile.
What do you mean you had a Batmobile?
Like Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Was really popular. So we had, because my sister was the favorite. She wanted a Batmobile for Hanukkah.
Which one of you liked Batman?
No, Sharon had to be Batman. Now I'm the oldest of three girls. Sharon had to be Batman and I had to be Robin. And only Sharon got in the Batmobile, and I had to run behind her with a cape on because she would never let me get in the Batmobile.
That's very funny. Yeah, I definitely was never allowed to drive the Barbie car, but I always got to sit
in the passenger seat. So what did you think of the movie?
I hate when you put me on the spot like this. I don't have any like profound thoughts to share about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a
question while we're talking about like mothers and daughters, and something that you said earlier was that Liz and I have always been your passion, but that's not true, because we weren't your passion until when we didn't exist.
Right. So, not until 1989.
Yeah. So what about life before then? Did you have kids and you were like, oh my God, I was living in black and white. Now it's color. My life had no purpose. No. I met you.
Oh, that's a really interesting question. Look at you asking me a question. Before children, BC. No, I was not lost. I was not that girl who liked to babysit, nor did I like children.
Right.
So my passion was working. I had a great job as a buyer, and I loved
working.
What?
Your passion was not working, Mom.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Lexi, I was working. I met your father. We were dating. That's all I did.
Okay.
That's all I did. I worked out. I dated your father, and I worked.
Okay. I don't think working was your passion, Mom. It was just how you spent your days. they stopped paying you, you'd stop going to work.
Right. So
What was your passion?
you know what? I'll be honest with you. My passion was to make money. I didn't have a passion.
That's fair, but don't lie.
Well,
I'm really passionate about my job at the department store.
I was a buyer. Don't. Anyway, so I didn't have any great passions in my 20s and got married at 24. So no. And then when I met your dad and we started dating and he, talked to me about, we started getting serious and he's like, I want children, either 2 or 4. And I said, well, I'm not really sure if I want kids.
I cannot picture him with 4 children. That is so funny.
No, me either. And I said, well, I'm not really sure. Now, granted, you guys, I'm 23 years old. And he said, well, I want 2 or 4. And I said, well, I'm not really sure if I want children. And he said, well, if you don't, then we should really end this relationship now. And I thought, okay, well, let me think about this because I like you and I don't want to end the relationship. So let's think about it. And then I fell in love with him and, we got married and then I wanted to eventually have babies. And that it is life altering in that it does change everything. It's not about you anymore. It stops being about you. And it's almost like a relief because when you're in your 20s, it's just, you're thinking about me. What do I want to do? What do I want to look like? What do I wear? All those, it's very me centered. And, and then you have a baby. I had mine at 28 and 32. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, it's not about me anymore. I really like this human being that we just created. I want to love her so much and protect her and teach her and feed her and just friggin' love this kid. And it's so cool because it's no longer about you. You're like, but the bad thing about it that happens to so many women is that they get lost.
Yourself, right.
Right. They get lost. And that's the hard thing. And some women are like, yeah, it's okay. I'm still lost in my family. They don't say that, but they're lost and they don't want to climb out or try to find themselves again. Yeah. And that's okay because everybody has their own journey. But I got really, really lost. And this show isn't about that. But that was, you became my absolute number one, both of you. It's all I wanted to do is take care of my family. It's all I wanted to do. And then as you got older, then I went back and started taking care of myself. I mean, I always went to the gym, but it wasn't about me.
Started finding other.
Right. Well, you become friends with other moms that have kids the same age. And, that whole thing happens and you become part of a different community and you have new friends.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about passions.
Yeah. My passion was then really more so than ever fitness. It was just that was my passion, being healthy and fit and helping other people do the same thing. And then I realized, oh, I could kind of balance it a little bit when they're in school. And that was really beautiful to me that I was able to do that. And then it got to be, and then I was also I was perfume spritzing also. So I was going out at night on Thursday nights, working from 5 to 9. You guys had a babysitter. And then on Saturdays
we go 5 to 9 in perfume spritz.
Yeah. You work at the perfume counter. I worked for a specific perfume company. I worked for Giorgio of Beverly Hills. And they had 2 scents.
I didn't know you did this I thought you did this before us.
No. After, so all the retired buyers became perfume spritzers.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we were hired as like independent contractors, right? And a company would hire us, like, I don't know, pick a perfume company.
It doesn't.
Okay. So yeah. So I worked for Giorgio of Beverly Hills and I would go and I got paid something like $25 an hour back in 1989. And I would work from 5 to 9, 12 to 4 on Friday, 12 to 4 on Saturday. And then by the time you were like 3, your dad was like, and he was done with law school. He's like, that's enough. Like, I'm cutting you off.
You're done with the spritzing.
You could, because he wanted me around on the weekends and Friday, he wanted me around on the weekends. Thursdays, didn't really get in his way, but I worked 12 hours a week doing that. And then I worked 2 hours a week teaching classes and then trained some clients on the side. So that's what I decided. And I loved it because it got me out of the house. I got dressed, put makeup on. So yeah. So it's really important to find that balance of your purpose and also finding you again, so you don't get lost. You don't get lost. But when I stopped the perfume spritzing and you girls got older and, I needed to be around more and more and more, not that I wasn't around, because I was around all the time, but you tend to, and depending on the relationship that you have with your spouse, sometimes you can get very lost in the relationship because everything becomes about the children. Every conversation is about the children. That's why it's important in a relationship to have that time with your significant other all the time. And also, I will always say this, is always be financially independent of your significant other. Always have your own money. So I always had a little stash, from teaching classes and training clients, but it certainly wasn't enough for me to feel financially independent. And, I don't want anybody to do that. I wouldn't want you or your sister to do that, because that puts you in a very weak position. It leaves you kind of open to get hurt.
So do you think the reason that so many women tend to get lost in this is because they don't have a passion prior to having children, and then they have them and it's like, oh my God, here's this thing, I finally have a purpose, and then they just want to throw everything
into the children?
Like, I don't have a passion right now, and I'm looking for one, and I'm nowhere near ready to have children. But I'm trying to find a passion, something that I can dedicate myself to, that's not just myself or work, or ideally work that I'm passionate about.
That's ideal. That's ideal right now at this point in your life.
To figure out what that is. I think there are many people who have things they're very passionate about, and then I would hope that there are many people like me who have never had that sport that they were obsessed with, or the movie they were obsessed with, or the thing that they were, in their basement practicing all the time. Like, I was always just kind of floating around. Like, whenever you had to do those projects in school, oh my God, there was this project that I have no idea what grade I was in. And it was like an outline of your head. And then inside you had to draw symbols to like describe yourself. So people would
It sounds like 4th or 5th grade.
Like a baseball and a butterfly and a ballet slipper. And I remember being like, what am I supposed to put in here? And I still feel like that.
My God, Lexi. I know. Maybe you should try doing that today. It is hard. I think you put too much pressure on yourself to find a passion. I think you just need to lean into whatever you feel like.
But I'm not feeling anything. Remember when I came home and I was like, everyone has a hobby but me? And then
believe me, Alexis, I remember. Yes, I remember.
Do you know the guitar is in this apartment with me? It's right over there.
Is it? So maybe you should go back to playing the guitar.
I don't think that's it.
Why not? See, I never put that pressure on myself about a passion. I don't know. I just, it was.
Well, I didn't really, I did in school because everyone had like their thing.
Right.
And so I wanted to have a thing, and I never did. And then I didn't really think about it in like high school, college, my early 20s. And now that I've been working for 8 years and I don't have children, which I don't want to have children right now, right. But I'm like, my life could use a little purpose beyond just like keeping myself alive and happy.
Do you want me to give you
now I'm looking for purpose and passion in work, so right. that I've feel like I've hit a certain level with my career. I've proven to myself that I can do it. And now I'm looking for something more, which for me is passion. And I think that is probably a pretty common thing, especially as women are having babies later.
Yeah, I was this news anchor that I was interviewing last night at 7. Like, the word passion never, it came up. She was always very passionate about being a news anchor. being on TV, and that was her passion. So
Right.
then she didn't have her kids until she was 40 and 42. And now she's going through menopause with a 7 and a 9-year-old. So that's like a lot going on in her 40s. But she was just talking about her passion, and it was always her job. So
Right. So I'm saying, yeah. So I
I
think
always,
you've been doing your job for a while, and
yeah,
the thrill of doing the job and doing it well, and oh my God, I'm working and I'm living in a city, and oh, I got promoted, and oh, I'm making this much money. After the thrill of that wears off, which it doesn't always for some people,
right.
and some people are really passionate about their jobs. But I had hit that point where I was kind of like, I did it. The excitement of the passion for doing it, the passion for just working in general had kind of worn off. And now I'm was looking for, okay, how else can I make my work something I'm passionate about? Or find, a hobby. Maybe I'll be a passionate guitar player by next week.
I always say, for anybody who's looking for a passion and is struggling sort of like with this as you are, for a passion, it's like I always say, who do you want to help? Like, what's important to you? Like, is feeding the hungry?
Don't do that. You can't look me dead in the eyes, ask me if I'm passionate about feeding the hungry, and then laugh. We're gonna get canceled.
Because of what we talk about. Because of what we talk about. Because everything that I've said,
Things that I may or may not be passionate about.
not gonna get canceled.
So mean.
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I know that when
it would be lovely to feed the hungry, but I don't think that's necessarily my life's mission.
I don't know. I mean, I told you I volunteered in soup kitchens
When?
here in the town that I live in,
When?
like a couple of years ago when Frank and I like got together. We volunteered. It was so much fun. Like you left there feeling like, wow, I made a difference. Also, I was involved in fundraising when you girls were
No
little.
one's attacking your philanthropy
I,
effort.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying, I always think when someone's looking for a passion, I always say, who do you want to help? Who do you want to help? So that's just something, everybody who's listening right now, if you're trying to find a passion, I want you to think about, who do you want to help? Who do you see out there that might be suffering who you can help? Because any little bit of your effort can help that person. Or maybe you have, some type of, I can't think of, right. You can write music. You are musical, and you could go play music for little kids in cities. I don't know what it is. You can read. Like for me, I also volunteered at the dog shelter. Do you know that at the animal shelter in town, I went there and I read the dogs books. Yeah. Yeah. So like I was passionate about helping rescue animals.
You read the dog's books?
Yes. Yes.
Times did you do that? Twice?
Like 3 times. But I mean, it was something I wanted to do. That's my point. It was something I wanted to do. And when I did it, I knew that maybe I was helping one dog fall asleep, and I felt great about doing something that made a difference, maybe.
Right. That's something I know I do. I don't see myself sitting on the floor of a shelter reading dogs.
But it's
although
something.
I do rescue dogs in my life.
Yeah. I mean, so you never know. Maybe it's rescue dogs for you, Lexi, because dogs do love you.
They love me because I'm not desperate for that love.
Right. So you're very aloof to them. All right. So you don't have a big takeaway on the Barbie movie. And
it told me, hey, we're gonna please prepare your take on the Barbie movie today. I would have.
I wanted to mention also, when we were talking about the Barbie movie, and as I was coming up the stairs to get ready for the show today, I was thinking, I wonder if she realizes how tired moms get at a certain age. Like I'm 62. I'm getting tired.
I'm really scared about that. That's probably I'm more scared about the tiredness than the giving birth.
Well, having children is exhausting mentally and physically.
Yeah, it sounds horrible, honestly.
It's not horrible, but it's stressful. And that's why it's really important to have the right frame of mind and know what kind of partner you have that you're having this children with. Like your dad and I are both type A personalities. And needless to say, your sister, she was just a little stressed out. You were more mellow because he was busier at work and I was with you more often and I was more confident as a mom. But our first child, like I said, I'm a firstborn. So with the first child, you don't know what you're doing. You're like, I'm just gonna go for this, and you lean in with your heart and your love, and you just hope that it pays off at the end, that your kid comes out okay when you stand still and you say fly, and they fly. So it's but you do, I was, when I was walking up the stairs, I'm like, I don't know if Lexi realizes how tired we moms get because we put everything into our
I
children.
do. I'm very scared for that. And I'm scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. You're going to be a wonderful mother one day.
Tell me recently, including the doctor who removed my ingrown toenail.
Can you share that story a little bit? We have about a minute and a half left.
Okay, so I get ingrown toenails. I had one last week, so I go to the doctor to get it taken care of. And I don't know why I thought that he wasn't going to do anything, but he tells me that he has to give me the needle. And if you've ever had anything done to your toe, they do like some sort of surgery to make ingrown toenails not grow back, in which they stick 3 giant needles into your big toe. And it's terrible. So I thought that's what he was going to do. There was just one needle. I cried. I asked him for a bag. I told him that I vomit on doctors all the time. I would in fact need a barf bag. It wasn't a joke. He got me one and he was laughing at me. And he was like, I do this on literal babies. Like, you're going to be fine. And I was like, I have no pain tolerance, in case you can't tell from the fact that I'm crying. And he was like, what do you mean? You're a woman. And I was like, yes, I know. I'm totally screwed when it comes to giving birth.
Oh
and
my God.
Like, basically, yeah. And then a couple months ago, I got another hole pierced in my ear, and I also cried. The girl looked me dead in the eyes and said, do you want to have children? So yeah, people seem to really be rubbing that one in my face recently.
That's so weird. I forgot about that girl that said that to you. But when you left the doctor's,
yes, I know it's gonna hurt more than this ear piercing.
But wait, the doctor was like, he was Jewish, right? And he was like, had to go to Shabbat or something like that. And he's like, are you like, that was really
like, I gotta go. My seeds are here. I have to do the fill-in. And I was like, okay.
And you did, it wasn't even an ingrown toenail.
No, it was. And I asked him how long it was going to take, and he said less than 3 seconds. I thought he was doing the surgery. He just clipped my toenail.
I love it. That's the cutest story, because Lexi was, yes, she vomited at every doctor's office until you were about 7. We had a barf bag. We had a garbage pail or a bag right there, because you get
so I tell doctors that and they don't believe I'm grown up.
Well, now you could get your own blood done all by yourself, and I don't need to be there for you.
Oh, I'm good with the blood. The blood's not bad.
Wow.
Because I know it doesn't hurt. It's the anticipation of pain that makes me nervous. So now that I've had blood drawn enough times and I know it doesn't hurt, I just can't look.
I bet when you have children, you're going to just pop that kid out.
I don't know. Well, my toe doctor said, make sure you get what's the thing where they numb you?
Epidural.
Yeah, I was like, oh, don't worry, doc. I'll be on all the drugs. Like, people are talking to me as if I'm pregnant. I am single and living in a studio apartment. There are no children on the horizon.
Oh my God, I love you. I am so lucky that you are my daughter and that your sister is my daughter. I am a very lucky mom. And as I said at the beginning of the show, my daughters make me a better person. They have from June 13th, 1989 and March 2nd, 1993. These 2 women have made me, what? Don't make what?
You need to drop our birthdays.
Stop. And they love to give me a hard time, Lexi especially, because we're so close and she gets tired of me. But really, Lexi, You really do make me a better person, and I love you and I respect you, and you could keep telling me what to do. And when I don't listen to you, understand that it's because I'm just nervous about taking that risk. And that is something I'm trying to teach you and teach other people, is to be fearless and authentic. And as you taught me, Mom, be authentic, be your authentic self on your platforms, and people will see you for who you are. But it's scary. And I just want to thank you for pushing me, and that I love you, and that a mother and daughter's relationship is very special. And I'm just very grateful for the relationship that we have. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'm kidding. Uh any last words, Lex?
No.
Okay. All right. What?
Said love you.
I love you too. And thank you so much for joining us on the Old Podcast. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. You can find us at the Old Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find me on all social platforms at Jody Harrison Bauer. And check us out on YouTube as well at Jody Harrison Bauer. You can see what me and Lexi look like when we do our shows. So until next week.
On those social channels that you're giving out?
What am I doing?
Have you started posting on those social channels?
Yes, they're being uploaded weekly, Lex.
Okay.
Okay. Love you. Bye. Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.